Tonight on NXT,
Do not click on another review.
we had a tag team match of Deonna Purrazzo and Dakota Kai versus Lacey Evans and Aaliyah.
There is nothing wrong with this video.
Jackson Ryker makes his debut.
There has been a change to WWE, and I am here to cover it. On 205 Live, we had a battle between Lince Dorado and TJP.
And for the main event, we had a matchup between the high-flying champion Ricochet,
Cedric Alexander,
in a grueling match with submission master
Drew Gulak.
and UK champion Pete Dunne.
Who wins?
Who loses? Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's find out. TJP takes on Lince Dorado as the opening matchup. Commentator had... one of the commentators, and I think it was Vic, said Lucha Libre, which is not how you pronounce that. TJP and Lince Dorado started off with really a paint-by-numbers cruiserweight match, with TJP being dominated by Lince's offense in the beginning, with TJP beginning to dominate the match soon after, countering, attacking, and forcing Lince Dorado into submissions. TJP really showed a lot of his terrific submission moves, with Dorado showing his high-flying luchador style. It seemed like it would be a warm-up match. And then TJP committed the cardinal sin. You never unmask a luchador. But it got him the pin. I can't say that I approve of this. Leo Rush managed to weasel his way out of a match with Noam Dar this week. So we'll be seeing a match between him and Noam Dar next week. But he was threatened with consequences should he try to evade this next match. Drake spoke with Mustafa Ali to some extent on facing off with Hideo Itami. Drake played coy for a little bit before letting him know that he spoke with medical staff. And Mustafa Ali has the green light to face off with Hideo Itami next week. And then we get to the main event. Drew Gulak versus Cedric Alexander for the championship. Cedric and Drew face off with Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick circling the ring. The two start to face off with the crowd chanting loudly, "Let's go Cedric," which is nice. Good on you, crowd. You're probably the last SmackDown crowd that's going to be seeing the cruiserweights for a while. Cedric was constantly being distracted by Gallagher and Kendrick, who were circling the ring, just waiting for the right opportunity, causing him to get caught off guard by Gulak. There were a lot of headlocks in the beginning, and it looked like they were really trying to play things safe to start to ensure that Cedric Alexander doesn't get injured going into his match with Buddy Murphy, which, by the way, as you could probably guess, Cedric's gonna win this one. But after Kendrick managed to pull Cedric down, he got caught by the ref, and so the ref ejected both him and Gallagher from ringside. Alexander used that opportunity while Gulak was distracted by his friends getting kicked out to take Gulak to task and lay down some offense. Cedric maintained focus on taking out Drew Gulak's arm through the match, ensuring that, Gulak's arm is as weakened as possible to prevent his submission holds. He is not as good as Gulak is, however. Gulak did manage to have himself a brief moment of submissions on Alexander and return the arm pain in kind. Cedric was brought low by Drew, putting him into a headlock, and then yelling the classic, "Ask him!" Cedric managed to break free and hit him with a suplex over the rope, landed, and then suplexed him again. So they went over the top rope, landed on the ground below, and then he hit him with another suplex. The two managed to get back into the ring at 9 and began wailing on each other. Cedric tripping Gulak up and hitting him with a flying clothesline into a pin for 2. Gulak then later gets hit with a neuralizer, falling through the ropes, and Cedric Alexander dives at him. But as soon as they get back into the ring, he gets caught caught in the Gulak, to which he manages to break free. Gulak hits Alexander with 2 body slams, to the crowd's very loud boos. Fails to get the 3 count. Alexander hits him with a kick, counters Gulak's counter to his counter, which was earlier countered, I'm sure, and hits with the Michinoku driver. Cedric goes to throw him to the opposite corner, just to get punched in the face. Gulak goes to the top turnbuckle to try and take him down, breaking in one of his cardinal rules. It's a no-fly zone in 205 Live for Gulak. But no, he went to the top rope, he went for the flying clothesline, manages to hit him, goes for the pin, but Cedric kicks out at 2. Gulak manages to get Cedric into the Gulak once more, but after a long struggle, Cedric manages to lift Gulak up, slam him into the corner, and then after a bit of a scuffle, hits him with a lumbar check, and pins Drew for the 1, 2, 3. It was a hell of a good match, and that brief review does not do it justice. This was a terrific match, to say the least. 205 Live was kind of brought down by the fact that they only had 2 matches. TJP and Lince Dorado had, they had a good match. They didn't have an A+ match. I don't expect that out of everyone. But all in all, I'm going to give 205 Live. Just the main event alone was really what this was all about. I'm going to give it an A-. And at the end of the show, I'll have this pull up here for you to be able to vote on. For NXT, holy hell was this a great show. We had a matchup of Deonna Purrazzo and Dakota Kai versus Lacey Evans and Aaliyah to start. Start off with a grapple match between Deonna and Lacey, reversing and countering each other's submissions and grapples. Lacey manages to tag in Aaliyah. Aaliyah begins attacking Deonna, but it was quickly countered, and Purrazzo tags in Dakota Kai. The two begin tagging each other in for some quick offense. Aaliyah gets Lacey Evans tagged in, who begins to try and take down Deonna, with Deonna countering and putting Lacey into an armbar. Lacey manages to get Deonna down, tags in Aaliyah. Aaliyah throws a few punches, screams like a mad woman, tags in Lacey Evans, and then the two just kind of start working Deonna Purrazzo in the corner. Dakota Kai, unable to do anything, tries to step into the ring. The ref stops her, turns around away from the match going on to watch as the two begin wailing on Deonna Purrazzo. After the ref turns around, they go to pin Deonna Purrazzo. Dakota Kai runs in, breaks up the tag, but after about 4 or 5 minutes of a beatdown, Kai finally gets tagged in, starts laying down the kicks on Aaliyah. Goes for the pin, it's broken up by Lacey Evans, because of course it is. Lacey then gets tagged, hits Dakota Kai with the women's right, pins her for the 1, 2, 3. This match was really... The star of this match was definitely Deonna Purrazzo. She is fantastic. And if this is just really a glimpse of what we can expect from her, I'd expect a much bigger push for her in the future. We then get a backstage promo with Velveteen Dream, talking about his win over Johnny Gargano, as he likes to call him, Johnny Failure, and then dismisses any attempts to talk about the attack on Aleister Black. We got a promo from the Street Profits, which I am talking about their feud with the Mighty. And then we had a match between Humberto Carrillo and Jackson Riker. Jackson Riker, isn't that a 90s superhero name? I'm so edgy. The X in my name stands for extreme. Riker dominated this match. This was a squash match. Riker showed off a lot of power, which is exactly what they wanted to get out of this. And it is a peek of what is to come with him. And he's got quite a bit going there. Regal interviews Candice LeRae. We had a vignette of Keith Lee talking about how he was inspired by Dusty Rhodes. I'm not crying, you're crying. We got news Otis is facing off with Tommaso Ciampa next week, which seems like an odd pairing, but Dozovic might put on a really entertaining matchup. And then we get to the main event. Pete Dunne versus Ricochet. Champion versus champion. And oh boy, did they earn those titles. Holy hell, this match was... I would have to put this match of the year as it stands. These two cannot put on a bad match on their worst day. Pete Dunne, though, obviously more over with the crowd. The Bruiserweight chants were just outweighing anything Ricochet was getting after the first few moments. The two circle the ring for the moment, taking in the crowd noise. We did have a brief dueling chant of Bruiserweight, and then one and only. But yeah, after circling the ring, the two finally clashed, dragging each other down to the ground. Pete Dunne using grappling to slow down and hurt Ricochet, limiting his mobility. Ricochet does try and pull some submission moves of his own, but not to the same effect as Pete Dunne can. Pete Dunne works Ricochet for a bit before Ricochet finally manages to get Pete Dunne a submission, but he's unable to apply any full force because Pete Dunne's been working his hand. Ricochet so after Dunne gets him into a leg lock after reversing a pin, Ricochet manages to break free, but Dunne gets him into a Romero hold. Ricochet reverses into a pin, and Dunne manages to maneuver out. These two they could not pin each other down. It was kind of awesome to watch how they reversed out of each one, because it wasn't just a kick out with each of these pins. They did something creative to get out of them, and it was fun to watch. Ricochet, though, getting bothered by the pain, gets distracted. Pete Dunne uses this moment to sock him in the face. Soon after, Ricochet manages to get back on his feet and starts doing what he does best, which is using his acrobatics to try and take Pete Dunne out. Ending in a combo with a drop kick to the UK champ to the outside of the ring. Dunne manages to get a hold of Ricochet, using that moment to deliver a big hit to the leg. Pete Dunne takes his time breaking down Ricochet at every level. Ear, leg, arm, doesn't matter, he's going to work it and break it. Ricochet, though, he manages to break free and counter a lariat from Pete Dunne, getting Pete Dunne into the corner and hitting him with what looked like a 619. Dunne manages to evade after getting out of a pin and counter Ricochet with a step-up enziguri. Ricochet then evades Dunne's next hit and lands a standing shooting star press, which is always impressive to watch. It is amazing that he's able to do that. Dunne avoids a standing moonsault after Ricochet breaks free from one of Pete Dunne's arm locks and starts stomping on Ricochet's hand. Ricochet goes for the top rope but gets punched on his way down. Dunne tries to hit him with the bitter end. Ricochet counters, then counters Ricochet's, and then Pete Dunne counters Ricochet's attacks, and then gets countered again. The two continue their fight outside the ring, dragging themselves back into the middle of the ring. Ricochet reverses the bitter end again and hits a reverse Hurricane Rana. The two, nearly broken in the middle of the ring, are trying to get back on their feet, but Pete Dunne gets up first, gets both of Ricochet's hands underneath him, and stomps them both. The two begin exchanging huge blows before Ricochet hits Dunne with a massive DDT. Ricochet tries to get to the top rope, but Pete Dunne sees what's happening, takes pursuit where the two try and overtake each other from the second turnbuckle. Dunne trying to work Ricochet's hand while Ricochet is trying to punch Pete Dunne. Ricochet managed to end this little fight at the turnbuckle, hitting Pete Dunne with an avalanche Frankensteiner. He takes Dunne out, goes for the pin, and Dunne kicks out at 2. Ricochet goes for a springboard 540, but Dunne counters with a triangle hold. Ricochet powerbombs Dunne. Dunne gets him back in a hold and starts working the fingers. Ricochet is starting to look like he's wanting to tap out. He powers through it, and by power through it, I mean Ricochet deadlifts Pete Dunne and hits him with a brainbuster. As the two are battered and beaten in the ring, the match ended the only way that it should have ended, and that is Undisputed Era interfering to ensure neither lose their championship and ending the match in a double DQ. But before the Undisputed Era could manage to do any more damage to the two of them, War Raiders charged down to the ring, scared off Undisputed Era, and then took pursuit of them. But because the match ended in a double DQ, both men are handed their belts, look at each other for a bit, and the show ends with the two of them in the ring, tired, exhausted, beaten, battered, and broken after probably the best match I have seen all year. This is definitely worth seeing. And on the main event alone, an A wouldn't do it justice. Tag team match was dragged down a little bit, just because really the star of that show was Deonna Purrazzo. The debut of Jackson Ryder in an actual match was pretty good. All in all, though, NXT can't get anything less than an A. It can't. This was a fantastic show, and probably one of the best ones of the year so far. But let me know what you think. I will have the poll up here for you to grade the show. Let me know what you think. But yeah, this has been Real Honesty without Jonn Ritland. I am not Jonn Ritland. I am the Derbinator. And you have a great night.